I used to believe that love, if it was real enough, could survive anything: distance, arguments, doubts, even pain. I thought that when two people chose each other, the world would eventually adjust. I thought I understood my own heart, my fears, my patterns. But what I didn't know was that a resource existed that could help me rebuild my life. You. I'll find it in the description and comments. At that time, I wasn't searching for answers. I was trying to save what was slowly falling apart. Our marriage did not begin with conflict. It began with promise. With long conversations at night, shared dreams, the quiet certainty that we were building something meaningful. We were not perfect, but we were connected. We faced life as a team, or at least that is what I believed. What I did not see at first was the invisible presence in our relationship, a third voice, subtle at first, then increasingly loud: his mother. At the beginning, I told myself it was normal. Family involvement is part of life. Opinions, advice, concern. I tried to be understanding. I smiled through comments that felt unnecessary. I excused behaviors that felt invasive. I told myself I was being sensitive, but something inside me felt unsettled. Her words were never openly hostile, yet they always carried a quiet judgment. Small remarks about how I cooked, how I spoke, how I handled our home. Nothing dramatic. Just enough to make me question myself. Just enough to plant doubt. The conflict did not arrive as a storm. It arrived as erosion. Over time, I noticed how my husband began to change. He became quieter after speaking with her, less certain in our decisions. When we disagreed, he would repeat her opinions as if they were his own. What once felt like us against the world slowly became me standing alone. I began to feel like a guest in my own marriage, tolerated, evaluated, never fully accepted. And I kept asking myself, is this normal? Or is something deeply wrong here? The hardest part was not her behavior. It was his silence. Every time I tried to talk about it, he minimized it. She means well. You're overthinking. That's just how she is. Each sentence felt like a small abandonment. Not because he defended his mother, but because he did not defend us. I began to doubt my reality. Was I imagining the tension? Was I being dramatic? Or was I slowly losing my place in my own relationship? The breaking point came in a moment that should have been ours. We were making an important decision about our future, where we would live, how we would build our life together. We had talked about it for weeks. We had agreed, or so I thought. But after one conversation with his family, everything changed. His tone was different. His certainty disappeared. The decision we had made together was suddenly not so simple. And in that moment, I realized something that shattered me. My voice did not carry the same weight as his family's approval. I remember standing there, trying to explain how I felt, and seeing him emotionally withdraw, not in anger, in avoidance. As if choosing me meant betraying them. And I asked myself a question that changed everything. If someone cannot emotionally separate from a toxic family dynamic, can they truly commit to a marriage? That night, I did not cry. I felt something deeper than sadness. I felt erased. The realization came slowly, painfully. This was not just about a difficult mother-in-law. This was about emotional enmeshment, about a family system that did not allow autonomy, about a man who had never learned where his family ended and our relationship began. And I understood that I was not fighting one person. I was fighting an entire structure that did not make space for me. I began to research, to read about toxic family dynamics, emotional dependency, and the psychological impact of parental control in adult relationships. And what I discovered was terrifyingly familiar. When a partner is emotionally fused with a parent, especially a controlling or narcissistic one, their romantic relationships become secondary. Decisions are filtered through loyalty, fear of disapproval, and unresolved childhood conditioning. Love exists, but it is constantly overridden by obligation. This was not about cruelty. It was about unhealed attachment. Rebuilding myself meant facing a painful truth. Love cannot survive where boundaries do not exist. I had been trying to save a marriage that I was never fully allowed to be part of. I had been negotiating my worth against a family system that did not see me as an equal, only as an outsider. I stopped asking how to make them accept me. I started asking why I had accepted emotional invisibility. The rebuilding was not immediate, it came in stages. First, I reclaimed my voice. I stopped minimizing my feelings. I stopped apologizing for needing respect. Then I reclaimed my identity. I remembered who I was before I started shrinking to maintain peace, and finally, I reclaimed my self-worth. I understood that a relationship should feel like partnership, not competition with a family legacy. I learned that love does not require you to disappear, that commitment is not proven through silence, and that when someone cannot choose emotional independence, they cannot fully choose a spouse. At the end of my journey, he discovered guidance and a resource that helped him face anxiety and rebuild his life. You can access it too. The link is in the description and comments, because healing does not begin when others change. It begins when you stop abandoning yourself. If you are living in a relationship where you feel invisible, questioned, or emotionally sidelined by family interference, know this: your pain is real. Your needs are valid, and you are not too much for wanting to be chosen in your own marriage. True freedom begins in the mind and only then appears in life. If this story touched you, like this video and subscribe to Love and Mind for more content on emotional psychology, toxic relationships, and self-worth.